everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome to the start of a weekend reading vlog. It's been a while since I've done any kind of vlog, but I figured it's time. I was kind of in the mood to do some vlogs, so I'm gonna try to pop in on some weekends here and there and get these up on a semi-regular basis. So woohoo, we're getting back to the swing of things, back to making regular content on the channel again. So I do want these vlogs to be a part of that regular content. So it is Friday at about 4 p.m. I just finished with 3 days of some riveting Zoom trainings for my new job, which pretty much all of the things in these 8-hour Zoom meetings could have been an email. I'm sure you know how that goes. So I'm like totally zonked and I don't want to be on the computer anymore. I have some reading plans for this weekend, also some social plans for this weekend. Tonight is probably the bigger social plan. Tonight, our plan is to go and visit our, my stepsister, because her youngest kiddo, it's his birthday, and so they're having a little birthday celebration for him. Oh, but it's like an hour and a half away, so we've got a bit of a drive ahead of us. We're hoping we're gonna make it. The clouds are rolling in. We might get a little thunderstorm here. We'll see. But also, Julio's waiting for a package to come that was supposed to come earlier, and it's not here yet. And it's kind of a pricey package that we don't want to leave on the porch or anything, and we have to be here to sign for it and stuff. So we may or may not make it, but we're planning on going. If we don't end up going, I'll just get a little extra reading in tonight. But I'm on my way to the grocery store to grab some stuff, both for us and also for some food to bring over to their house. But I actually got my wisdom teeth out a week ago, and so I'm still in the healing process of that. So I'm not eating the food that everyone else will probably be eating at the party. I think I'm gonna have to bring my own food, which is kind of funny, but I might go just find some mac and cheese or something. And that'll be my meal. But yeah, that's been an experience. I'm a week out, so I don't have any pain really anymore or anything. Just a little bit here and there. Today I was fine, and then this afternoon I just started having pain again, mostly on this side, because this is where I had an impacted tooth that was removed, and so that's the one that's been swollen and been giving me grief and pain. So it's starting to get better though, but I'm still kind of eating a mushy diet, which is delicious. Not really. I really miss crunchy food. But the things that I'm reading this weekend, so I'm hoping to finish first Pilgrim's Regress by C.S. Lewis. This book I was supposed to buddy read with David Wiley, and I got way behind. He's already finished it. And so I do want to pick this back up again. I also have in the mix, what's it called? The new Emily Henry book, People You Meet on Vacation, or People We Meet on Vacation, something like that. And I was reading it, and then I'm actually now kind of buddy reading it with Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf. So depending on where she's at, I will read it a little bit more in that one. I also want to, of course, keep up with Les Mis. So about halfway through Les Mis, which is great. And then tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, we will have our second live show discussion on this part 2 of the book. So excited for that. And then also, I think this is probably the last thing I'll throw in the mix, is I would like to, if I get to it, maybe pick up Invisible Life of Addie LaRue again, which I started months ago and then put down, didn't finish. I would like to get back into that, probably as an audiobook. So that might be the audiobook that I have going throughout the weekend as I'm cleaning and stuff, and then hopefully physically reading a bit of the other 3 books. So those are my weekend reading plans. I'm excited about all these books. I really am reading some good stuff right now, so it should be a great weekend. But I better head out to the store, and we'll see if we're going to the party, if we get this package delivered. If not, we'll probably have to cancel on them, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see how the evening goes. I'll keep you posted. All right, so it is post grocery store trip and Julio's package is still not here. So we are calling it. The traffic is bad out there anyways. And by the time, at this point, if we left like now, we would still be late. And so, yeah, we're not gonna make it over to their house. So it's a Friday night in, which is kind of a bummer because I did want to see them and celebrate the little guy. I think it's his 3rd birthday. I think he's 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. But yeah, so we're here and Julio is here. Hi, Julio.
Hi, world.
Hi, world.
What is this? YouTube? Instagram?
BookTube?
Oh, BookTube. Hello, BookTube.
You know BookTube.
I do. That I do.
You're famous. You're famous on BookTube.
What?
Julio's playing Animal Crossing. I will show you what he's up to at the moment.
I have to build a vacation outfit.
He's building a vacation outfit for Mabel.
So what should I
Or
wear?
not
She
Mabel.
gave me this,
Sable? Who's the one who's
Label.
Label? I'm getting it wrong. Label is visiting the island today, so
and she
Julio.
gave me a Fisher hemp, which
A Fisher hemp.
is that shirt.
So he's got to make an outfit that goes with the Fisher hemp. He's looking pretty cute. Okay, can we just, for a second, appreciate how cute Julio's avatar is? Because, like, I don't know why, but his avatar is, like, the cutest avatar with his little eyes, his little smile, his little hair. It's just way cuter than my avatar, and I don't know how to make mine cute. But Julio's was just, like, cute right off the bat. It's adorable. Outfit's coming along nicely.
Doesn't say travel.
Well, it's a work in progress.
This one.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Doesn't really go with your shirt though.
No, but that does. Now I just gotta find some shoes.
Good morning. Good afternoon. It's still morning. It's 11:41 on Saturday morning. Oh, there's like a paper right here. I'm in my kitchen and I had a busy morning. We finished our second talk of Les Mis on part 2, the Cosette section, and it went really lovely. It went really well. We had a great turnout, so thank you for anyone who was able to come to the live discussion. We really loved talking to you, and we can't wait to do it again. And that's up on Naomi's channel if you want to watch the replay on that. We had a great discussion. This second part of Les Mis was not as eventful. I feel there were things that were moving the plot forward, but there was also a few things that kind of stopped the plot from moving forward for a while. So we still had a lot to talk about though, so it was good. But yeah, so we just finished that, and then I did a few other BookTube kind of tasks, things, communicating with a few different people, you know, doing the BookTube life. So now I am ready to eat some lunch, and Julio is gone today. He is out at a rehearsal for the, I keep holding this paper back, I'm sorry. He's out at a rehearsal for his band for probably a good chunk of the day. So since I have a nice quiet house, I think I'm just going to enjoy this Saturday alone reading. I had, by the way, a terrible night of sleep, and I'm working on figuring out why I can't sleep. But I did read a bit while I couldn't sleep. I read Pilgrim's Regress a little bit, and I think I could finish it today. I'm definitely far enough along where I'm going to finish it today. So that's my plan. I'm going to have some lunch, and I'm going to read some Pilgrim's Regress, and I will let you know what my thoughts are when I finish it. I really think I'll finish it in the next like hour or two. So I will pop back in a little bit later. Hey guys, so it's about 2 hours later from when I last talked to you. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I finished Pilgrim's Regress. Yay! Wow. What a great read. it's kind of funny because C.S. Lewis actually put an afterword at the end of this book apologizing for the book because he wasn't entirely satisfied with it, and he felt it was a little bit too obscure in places, which I might agree. So let me back up for a second. I bring up the afterword just because it's always kind of funny when authors apologize for their work and they're like, it wasn't very good, because I actually think this book was really good. But I can see the ways in which it's a little bit muddy at times. So this book, first of all, is a play on Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. And my only regret in reading this is that I haven't read Pilgrim's Progress. So I feel like I've probably missed a few things along the way. I would love to reread this book after I've read Pilgrim's Progress, which I now have a copy. I actually just bought a copy. I found one at the used bookstore the other day. But anyways, getting off topic again. So this book is about a man named John, and this whole book is an allegory for John's walk through faith and his encounter with different faiths along the way. And John's journey actually mirrors C.S. Lewis's journey as well, as far as the schools of thought that he encounters along the way on his journey. And so I think this book takes a lot of work to read. I wouldn't say it's impossible reading. It's not unclear for the most part. However, because it's so heavily allegorical, I think you need a lot of background in religion and the church to understand. Also, you need some background in apologetics, I would say. If you don't have those backgrounds, this book will be frustrating and you probably won't survive. You'll probably DNF it, which you should if you don't have those. I don't think you should read this book if you don't have that background. So just FYI. But if you do have some knowledge of the church and its evolution, and also some of the schools of thought which were prevalent through like the 1800s and early 1900s, as far as like romanticism, pantheism, theism, Christianity, like we basically travel through all of those lands and we meet people who represent those ideas. And this book is so wonderfully weird in a lot of ways, because you encounter also like creatures who have like fallen susceptible to different sins, and like they're very grotesque in just like their physicality and how they represent that particular sin as well. Yeah, this book is a trip. I liked it a lot. I would say I need to reread it again, maybe many times. I think you can get a lot out of this, and I did find myself lost sometimes, just because C.S. Lewis has such an amazing intellect, and he tries to bring all of these different philosophies in together. And also, like, throughout the whole book, there's tons of quotes from like Plato and like anyone you can think of, like any of these like ancient scholars. He brings in a lot of quotes at the beginning of every chapter, and they all mean something, but sometimes it's information overload. Sometimes I think there's just so much packed in this book. So it's it's brilliant, and it's also too much at the same time. It's like an allegorical overload. So, like, if you are bothered by Chronicles of Narnia being allegorical in any way, you will not like Pilgrim's Regress. But if you like that about C.S. Lewis, and if you appreciate what he can do with allegory, I think this is an amazing read, and I think it's totally worth your time. And I don't think it's as bad as C.S. Lewis thought it was. I actually got a lot out of it, and I really appreciated what this book did. If anything sounds interesting about what I'm saying, pick this book up. I do recommend it. I'm giving it 4 stars. I don't think it's not the best that C.S. Lewis has written, but it's worth your time if you're already a C.S. Lewis fan. But I wouldn't start here. Let's just say that. I wouldn't start with this. But if you're interested in him, in his body of works, this is worth reading. I am kind of tired. I'm debating whether or not I want to take a little nap. I am kind of falling asleep. Again, I haven't been sleeping well. And I'm just crashing at the moment. I don't know. I actually will probably do my Spanish first. I'll do my Duolingo. I work on Spanish every day, if you don't know. I have been trying to learn for a little while. I've married into a Spanish-speaking family, and so I have been working on these skills, but I have a long way to go. But I do my Spanish every day, about like 30 minutes of Spanish a day, if I can. And after that, I don't know. I'm not going to be reading People We Met on Vacation this weekend because I talked to Naomi, who I'm buddy reading it with, and she is probably going to hold off on it until Monday. So I'm going to wait for her on that. But I think what will probably happen the rest of the day is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because I think it's time for me to get back into that. I think I'm going to go the audiobook route and then probably clean around the house a little bit, because there are some corners of the house that are a little dirty. So I think that'll be the route that I go the rest of the day. So Spanish, and then probably some cleaning, and then Julio will maybe be home maybe for like an early dinner or something. I don't know how, I don't never know how long he's gonna take to do his rehearsals. Sometimes they go for a long time. He'll probably be back by dinner-ish time though. So that's kind of what I'm going to do the rest of the day. But man, I'm gonna have to think about Pilgrim's Regress for a really long time. It was so much to chew on, but I'm really glad that I read it. Hey guys, so it's 6:30. So a little bit later, I did some cleaning. I also, while I was cleaning, I listened to some more Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, or not listened to more, but started listening to it. And so I have read a bit further than where I've stopped on the audiobook. So I think I actually might dip in and out of the audio and the physical, because I don't know if I love the audiobook narrator completely. It kind of reads a little bit like the girl ran into the woods. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very deliberate in the reading, and it's kind of like, I don't know. There's like a tone and style of speaking that this narrator has that I'm not like loving. But I am getting back and immersed into the story. It is so immersive. Like, I actually don't really have that big of like a difficult time listening to audio with this one, because I think the writing is just, it's very immersive. So dramatic though. So like such a specific mood that this book is going for. It's very like kind of dark, gothic, very foreboding. You definitely feel like right from the beginning, V.E. Schwab definitely gives you a feeling like something's gonna happen. Something's bad. Like something bad is happening to this girl, and it's all very dramatic. But I like it. I like it so far. Again, I've read so far this much. I'm like 5 chapters through, so just refreshing a little bit. And yeah, so starting that, and then I realized I finished cleaning some stuff, and then I realized today is the last day of July. Whoa. The last day of July, and I needed to make my August playlist. I make a music playlist for myself every month of albums that I want to listen to. So maybe I'll turn you around so you can see what I'm maybe gonna listen to in August. And I usually put like 20 hours or so on the playlist. So I do usually get through it all, at least a couple of times. Well, at least once throughout the month. I don't know if I get through the whole playlist more than once usually, maybe twice, but yeah, it's a lot of hours of music. But let me turn you around. So in our August playlist, we are going to have, first up, John Mayer's new album, obviously, because I love John Mayer so much. And that is Sob Rock. If you haven't heard, he has a new album out. So that, Scary Pockets puts out stuff all the time. I'm like shocked at how much they put stuff out, but Scary Pockets is like, they do like funk, really good funk covers. They do covers of pop songs in like jazz funk ways, and I love it. Or some worship, the Worship Initiative, which was founded by Shane and Shane, which if you are into the Christian music scene at all, Shane and Shane is one of my favorite current Christian artists. And then we get kind of random because I started adding some like singles and stuff that I found. I'm loving the new stuff that Bruno Mars is putting out. Silk Sonic, this like EP, there's a couple songs on it now. First it was just Leave the Door Open, which I loved, and now there's Skate, and I love them both. So I'm loving what Bruno Mars is doing. This was recommended to me. A lot of this was like recommended to me based on other stuff I've listened to. So I've never listened to this album. This is Bela Fleck, and he's a virtuoso banjo player. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, why are you listening to banjo music? That's kind of weird, but I like it. I like bluegrass stuff. So I don't know. So sue me. I'd like it. Beach Boys, because it's summer, and so there's always so many Beach Boys albums to explore. There's so many. Let's see. Some other random singles. Billie Eilish's new album. I'm a little bit of a fan, which I don't know if I'm embarrassed that I'm a Billie Eilish fan. Well, no, I'm not embarrassed because, you know, you should like what you like, but I haven't heard her new album yet. So some Billie Eilish. This is a band that Michael Nipp turned me on to, and they have a new album out, so I added that. Lowland Hum is a like folksy band, folksy duo. Coldplay is starting to put out some new stuff. Oh, Mahler Symphony, just because Mahler, because I don't need a reason. Mahler is awesome. New Brandi Carlile, new Imaginary Future. And this is not new, this is old Imaginary Future, but I wanted to listen to some Imaginary Future. Imaginary Future is a project of Keena Grannis's husband. If you know Keena Grannis, Imaginary Future is her husband's project. And it's kind of similar-ish to the kind of stuff she puts out too. Mozart piano concertos, Dream Theater. I haven't listened to Dream Theater in a while, and they have some new live albums out, so I put that up. A lot. Okay, so I have a lot of Dream Theater. Yes album. I haven't listened to Yes in a while. I don't know if this album's any good. It's a live. I don't always love live albums. Oh, this I just kind of saw on a whim, and I hadn't listened to it in a while. It's the Funny Girl soundtrack, you know, with Barbra Streisand. Love Barbra Streisand. She's amazing. I love this movie too, and I might force Julio to watch it with me. I don't know. It's not really his kind of movie, but it's my kind of movie. So Funny Girl, if you've never seen it, it's great. Oh, and Janelle Monae. Janelle Monae. She is, well, I don't know, you might be familiar with Janelle Monae, but she just puts out really cool stuff. I'm not as big a fan of her newer stuff, but this is like one of her newer albums, and I'm trying to like get back into her. So I'm gonna give her newer stuff another shot. It's not, I really like her first 2 albums that she put out. Not so much the newer stuff, but we'll give it another go. So yeah, and that's everything. That's everything. Time for dinner, and everything here is, I think, soft enough for me to eat. I might be pushing a little bit with the carnitas there, but we'll see. I'm now over a week out from wisdom teeth surgery, so I think I should be able to eat everything here. There's nothing like crunchy or anything. But I talked Julio into starting Downton Abbey because I've always been curious about this show. And I know we were like way late to the game, like years late. But I've heard it's great. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have any Downton Abbey thoughts. Is it worth it? I don't know. We're gonna try the first episode and see how it goes. So we finished the first episode of Downton Abbey.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Julio? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's pretty juicy drama right there. Mm-hmm.
Juicy
drama. They're a bunch of punks.
Yeah, they're like the snarkiest people I've ever seen.
If you haven't seen Downton Abbey,
well, like us,
yeah.
we haven't seen Downton Abbey.
Seen it. So I'm sure there's more of you out there. But yeah, it's high drama. It's really good stuff. It's like a cinematic soap opera.
It's very soap opera-y.
It's well done. Yeah.
It's like watching a soap opera without like feeling like you're watching a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm hooked.
I think we're going to keep watching it.
Yeah, gotta see what happens.
We're like, I don't even know how many years late to the party. What? 7 years late to the Downton Abbey party?
When did Downton Abbey begin? 2010.
We're 11 years late to the Downton Abbey party. Woo! Better late than never. Dusty's sleeping in such a weird way. He's like curled up in a ball, but he's sleeping with his neck like backwards. Dusty, why are you doing this to yourself? You don't know? Why are you sleeping like that?
Why are you such a weirdo?
You're so weird. Happy Sunday. It is 3 p.m. and I haven't updated you yet. Yikes. So most of Sunday is gone. But today we've been rather busy. We had church this morning, and then after church we had a Bible study Zoom meeting with Christy and Kevin. Christy from the channel Dostoevsky in Space and her husband Kevin. And so we had a Bible study with them, which was awesome and super fun. And I just adore them. They're the coolest. And now, Julio, this is actually Julio's last day before he goes back to work. So we are in literally the last hours of his summer vacation. And so...
You don't have to say it like that.
Why not?
Literally the last few hours you will enjoy freedom.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, I guess so.
So he decided he was gonna do some work, and then he realized, you know what? Life is too short to do work right now on Sunday. Yes. I want to get some ice cream. And so we're going to Baskin Robbins to get some ice cream.
I am going to do work today, but maybe not as much as I had initially thought that I should.
Yeah.
Because I can work tomorrow, and this week is going to be a lot of work. So why start a day early?
Why work now when you can work Monday?
I'll work a little bit today, but
a little bit
more tomorrow.
So his last hurrah Sunday evening. So we're just gonna enjoy, probably get some ice cream, maybe watch some more Downton Abbey because now we're obsessed, and then play some Animal Crossing because we have to see the fireworks show on our island.
We're such dorks. 7, we gotta be back to watch the fireworks.
Look, it's a booktube channel. They know. They know that we are dorks.
Yeah.
We're all dorks here.
I'm glad
it's
we
okay.
are dork that we'll run home to watch a fireworks show on Animal Crossing.
Yes. It's so weird to have Isabel out in the plaza. What? You can actually like see all of her and she's not in our little place. It's crazy. And also, I didn't realize that Red is in charge of the fireworks. That's kind of hilarious. He would be in charge of the fireworks. He's a sketchy, sketchy dude. I can't wait for later when the fireworks show happens. Also, this is the main room of my house. I tried to decorate it so that it looks like a crazy old lady lives here. And it's like haunted. There's like spider webs and I have just like a bunch of old stuff. I tried to just make this room really old-timey. So I've got like antique furniture and then there's my little library and my fireplace. But somehow, even though it's antique, I have a security camera watching everything in the corner. I don't know. I don't pretend to be an expert at Animal Crossing design, but this is my creepy old lady room. It's time for the fireworks show! So excited. We put some custom fireworks in there, and one of them, well, a few of them are kind of funny. Oh, there's the wheel! Oh, yay! Mountain Dew! I think that was supposed to be the lady with the Coke, maybe. Oh, there's Coca-Cola. Today is the best Animal Crossing day ever because fireworks and also there's boba in the game now. Look, I'm holding boba. I'm holding boba tea and I can drink it. It's so cool. I love it. Oh my gosh. This was such a great update for Animal Crossing. I'm so happy right now. I have boba. Hey guys, so it's actually Monday morning now. I am about to go to my wisdom teeth follow-up appointment. So I'm out the door in a minute, but I wanted to wrap up the vlog here. I did read a little bit more last night. Sunday, I didn't read a ton because I was hanging out a lot with Julio, and last night he just kind of wanted to like hang out and watch Downton Abbey and watch TV and like chill before his first day of work, which is today. So yeah, so I just hung out with him because it's good to spend some quality time with your spouse. So we had a nice time just hanging out and chilling and watching too much Downton Abbey and playing too much Animal Crossing. But also, I'm still not over how cute the fireworks show is on Animal Crossing. I cannot wait for Sunday to come around again so that I can do it again. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Invisible Life of Addie or LaRue and like how far along I am here. I'm pretty much caught up to where I would have I did stop like a few months ago when I was reading it. So I've just gotten a bit of a refresher on the initial events and kind of how everything is set up. So here's my thoughts, and this is similar to my thoughts a few months ago, and so they're still holding up now. But I love the writing. I think V.E. Schwab has some serious writing chops. This is my first V.E. Schwab book, so I can't wait to read more by her already, even though I haven't even finished this yet. But I'm already like, I really like this author. I just really like her style. And then I love the like tragic mood of this. It's such a tone. It's such a tone of like tragedy and foreboding and like darkness. It's it's a mood. This book is a mood, and I feel like she just portrays that really well. The only thing that's like I'm not sure about yet is I don't know if I like the main character. I feel a little bit like she is like a brat. I feel like she's a little bit like a spoiled brat who made a mistake over something kind of like trivial. And I don't want to say trivial because okay, so I have to get into mild spoilers a little bit, but like if you don't, it's really just the setup of the book, because like the synopsis really doesn't give you a lot of information as far as like how Addie LaRue became the way she is, how she was forgettable, and like what she did to get that way. And so if you don't mind a little spoilers, then keep watching. Again, I'm like 50 pages in, so if you don't mind like spoilers on the setup of the book, I just want to warn you, because everybody has a different like tolerance level with spoilers. But so this is the setup is she sold her soul to the devil. Okay, so hi Kitty. Rosie also has sold her soul to the devil. She's a demon cat. Anyways, so Addie has sold her soul to the devil because she didn't want to get married, because she didn't want to settle down, and she just wanted to be free, and her parents pressured her into getting married. I don't know. I wanted more of like something to give her more character. Because to me, like she just feels like a millennial. That sounds awful. Because I am also a millennial. So like, hello. No offense to millennials. I'm a millennial, kind of. Yes, I think so, technically. But it just feels like she's thrown her life away on like she's not she didn't sacrifice herself for anyone else. She didn't have like too tragic of a backstory. Like she had a loving mother and father, and she just literally didn't want to get married. I don't know. I feel like it's not a great character setup as far as like it doesn't make me like empathize with her. Like I just feel like she threw her life away for something not that big of a deal. But like I guess it is obviously like getting married is a really big deal, and that changes the trajectory of your life. It can. So I get it, but also like I just wish we had a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more something to root for Addie for, because to me I just feel like she's a little bit of a just was like a little bit naive. I guess I've been saying spoiled brat, and that's probably not the right word, because I don't feel like she's a spoiled brat, but I feel like she's immature. That's all. I feel like she's an immature kid who made a mistake that affected the rest of her life in a big way. And that is tragic. Like that is where her tragedy lies. But as far as like her reasoning for throwing her life away and selling her soul to the devil, I felt like the reasoning itself was weak and like not built up strong enough. Maybe we needed a little bit more information there, but yeah. So those are my thoughts so far. Now, what I'm expecting is for Addie to really blossom and develop as a person, because she's like immortal now, but like no one can remember her. And so I'm expecting more maturity and for us to see that. Now, will we get that? Time will tell. But that's what I'm hoping for me to like really root for Addie and like her as a character. I'm hoping that we see like, you know, the immature girl becoming much wiser. So those are my thoughts so far on Addie LaRue. And I know it might be a little controversial because people love this book, but I'm just not sold on the main character yet. But I'm only like 50 pages in at the moment. So we will keep on chugging along and hopefully finish this book at least by the end of the week, by next weekend, and that I can have some more like formulated thoughts on it. But I am liking it. It's a fun read, and I love the tone. I love the writing. I just don't love Addie yet. So I'm hoping to like her and to fall in love with these characters a little bit more. And that will wrap up our vlog. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I will have probably another vlog from next weekend as well. So I am going to be signing off, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great week. Bye-bye.